إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهديه الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونصلي ونسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا ثم أما بعد. Today is the last page in the book of the history of Andalus. We ended up last time at the fall of the state of Al-Muwahhideen, of the Unitarians. And we are now at the year of 641 Hijri. How was the Andalus in this year? The Andalus in this year was divided in 4 parts. The top part, or the north part, is 2 kingdoms for the Crusaders, which is the kingdom of Qishtala and the kingdom of Aragon. And the lower part is 2 Muslim kingdoms, which is Granada, Granada, to the southeast, and the southwest is Ashbiliya, Seville. Those 2 parts, those 2 Muslim parts, were something like 1/4 of the area of the Andalus in these days. Who is controlling those parts, or Granada Kingdom or Granada state? They started a new state called Banu al-Ahmar, the son of Ahmar. Ahmar, you know what's Ahmar? The red color. And they called him that because the first one has a red hair, so they call him Al-Ahmar. And most of them, by the way, most of the kings of Banu al-Ahmar, most of them called Muhammad. So we'll find Muhammad the first and the second and so on. So the first one was Muhammad ibn al-Ahmar. And that was 643. And as we said before, there are some kind of humiliation. Those people, or those kings, as they call themselves, they used to be familiar with some kind of humiliation. They used to make treaty with the Crusaders, and they used to make a lot of stuff which didn't benefit the Muslim kingdom in these days. In these days, 643, Muhammad ibn al-Ahmar made a deal with Qishtala king, the Crusader king. Look at the items of this deal, or the point of this deal. First, Muhammad ibn al-Ahmar should pay jizya for him. Second, Muhammad ibn al-Ahmar gonna be one of his governors. So he is the governor on Granada under the umbrella of Qishtala king. And he should give him some important areas in the Islamic countries. And he did. And finally, Muhammad ibn al-Ahmar should support him in his wars, in his fighting against his enemies. And look at that. What was the first enemy they start to fight? Their Muslim neighbors. Ashbiliya kingdom. So you make a deal with Crusaders, with Al-Kafirin, against your Muslim brothers, which is just behind you. And they start to make a big army, and they start to attack their Muslim brothers. It can be understandable if it comes from the king. But what about people to carry your sword and go to fight your Muslim brothers? What a shame on us. And
excuse me. So when they were asking for the lands, those were military bases?
what's that again?
when this Ashbiliya people were asking for the land in the Muslims. So they're asking for military bases, probably.
Yes. So they want to, put them under siege. They want to make some points so they can surround the Muslim country, and this is their long-term target. And subhanallah, they keep it under siege for 17 months. The Muslims, with their treaty with Qishtala king, they're fighting there and surrounded the country for 17 months, and Ashbiliya fall by the hands of their Muslim brothers at 646. It was in Ramadan. And subhanallah, 400,000 Muslims has been expelled out of their homes, out of their country, and 16 mosques is converted to a church. So we have now only Granada. 15% of the area of the whole Andalus is known as a Muslim kingdom in these days. In these days, the king of Qishtala and their colleagues around, you can think, oh, so the Muslim country here is so weak, so they can just attack him and take them. So what didn't happen? It didn't happen because of few things. As we said before, most of the areas were Muslim parts, and they start to fall part by part. So where did Muslims go? Yeah, to the south. So these areas in these days were highly populated with Muslims. So they have a lot of people. Second, this area was surrounded by very strong fences, so they couldn't attack it. Third, this area was the the south part of Al-Andalus. It was so near to Morocco. And in these days in Morocco, there were a new state, and it was in these days very strong, so they were supporting them. And they do not like to involve themselves in a war against the two. 671, the king of Qishtala, so they have a treaty already. I'm gonna fight with you against your enemies, and subhanallah, every few years, the king of Qishtala break his treaty. So Ibn al-Ahmar, to make him satisfied, he give him some pieces of lands from the Muslim country. Till they feel so bored. How could we continue doing that? After a few years, they gonna steal the whole country. And they start to think about asking help from Morocco. But in Morocco, in these days, there were a state or a kingdom called the state of Al-Marines, the Marines state. And it was in these days very strong. And subhanallah, they asked its king or its governor, his name is Yaqub al-Mansur al-Marini. Subhanallah, as Yaqub al-Mansur al-Muwahhidi from Dawlat al-Muwahhidin was a hero of the Muslim history, one of the heroes in the Muslim history, here it is again, and with the same name, Yaqub al-Mansur al-Marini. They asked his help. Then Muhammad ibn al-Ahmar the first has passed away, and his son come after that. His name also is Muhammad the second, and he asked his help. And then Yaqub al-Mansur al-Marini take 5,000 from his country, from Dawlat al-Marin, and went to defend other Muslim country. And 5,000 more is followed them, so they have now 10,000 Muslims. And there was something like a war. It was a big war between them and the Crusades. And the name of the leader of the Crusades part, his name is, it's a little bit strange, his name is Dononio di Lara. And this battle is called Ad-Dunyununiyya, related to the name of the leader of the other side. There were 90,000 and the Muslims were 10,000, and alhamdulillah, by the leader of Yaqub al-Mansur al-Marini, they defeated them. And look at what happened. As before, do you remember Yusuf ibn Tashfin? When he did the same job, they asked his help, and they went, and they defeated them, and they gave them everything, and went back, even without, the wealth they collected from the war and this stuff. He went it back. And subhanallah, when he went it back, there is a little island in the middle between, in the Mediterranean Sea, in the middle between Morocco and Andalus. He conquered them. Because of what? Because he said, in this situation we're going to be near to you, so nobody can attack you. And look at that, Muhammad ibn al-Ahmar, what he did. After a while he thought, oh, they are here behind us. And they may do like Yusuf ibn Tashfin did before and come and become the king of Andalus. He was helping him few months ago. Then he wanna fight him, and he knew that this guy is a very strong guy, and his army is a very strong army. So look at that. He went to the Crusades side and asked their help to fight his Muslim brother who just supported him against them. What a strange situation, and what a humiliation those kind of Muslim kings do. It was so. This was the situation, and it happens many times. They take some parties and they go to the other side, ask their help against their Muslim brothers, and this continued for a few years, breaking their treaty and fighting between them and treating between the Muslim sides and the Kurd sides against the Muslim, till we reaches to the last 25 years of the history of Andalus. And let's just stop few minutes in these parts. The last few years or 25 years, there were, just as we said, Granada, only Granada state. Okay? There were two brothers. One of them called Al-Ghalib Billah. Subhanallah, they were calling themselves very strange name, Al-Ghalib Billah. Ghalib of what? And he's asking Al-Ghalaba from Allah. For what? And the other one, his name is Abu Abdullah or Muhammad Abu Abdullah, but they called him Az-Zaghl. Az-Zaghl means the brave. Okay? They were fighting together for who's gonna be the king. Then after that they make a treaty to divide Granada two parts, north and south. The north one was Al-Ghalib Billah, and the south was Az-Zaghl. It should be his brother. Okay? Look at what happened was with Al-Ghalib Billah. Al-Ghalib Billah, he has a son. His name also Abu Abdullah, but they call him, because his uncle had the same name, Abu Abdullah, but so they called him Abu Abdullah al-Saghir or al-Zaghl, and the son, his name is Abu Abdullah al-Saghir. So we have now Al-Ghalib Billah, the governor of the north part, Az-Zaghl, the governor of the south part. The north part, the governor has a son, as we said. This son demonstrated against his father, and some people followed him, and they fired his father out of the country, and he went to his brother, and he spent something like a few years, then he passed away. Abu Abdullah al-Saghir, and Saghir means the little Abdullah, and he was he was little. He was little in his mind, he was little in his behavior. He started to make treaties again with Qishtala king. In these days, his name is Fernandez. He make a treaty with him. What was the treaty? I'm going to help you to expel your uncle out of his country, and once we get rid of him, I will give you the whole Granada. And they start for this trip, and they succeeded. They attacked them from the south, and the little Abdullah attacked from the north. And they get rid of him, of Azad. So he went to the east and take a little board and announced himself as a kingdom of his board. So now, Fernandez, where is Fernandez now? At the south part, with a promise to give it to Abdullah Saghir. But as usual, they didn't. In addition to that, they attacked his uncle in his little kingdom and they took it. So look at the situation now. Granada started to shrink. A little piece surrounded from all sides with Kursides, with Fernando. And there is something very important happened. You can think that, so what's going on here, it should be the Muslim country falls. But it continues for something like 200 years. Because of what? Because of, as we said, there were two kingdoms at the north. Two Khurasid kingdoms. And they always fight each other. Till that day, what happened? Fernandez, the kingdom of Qishtala, got married to the daughter of the other king. And they unified the country in Spain. And they call it Spain. So now, it's only one Christian country surrounded from all sides, the Muslim country, which started to shrink to the end, to a little piece. This was, who was the king now, who was the governor? Abu Abdullah al-Saghir ibn al-Ahmar, the son of Ahmar. And then everything connected them to the Morocco kingdom has vanished because they stole all lands around. He started to think, in these days, in the little Muslim country, there starts some kind of protest, and some people said, oh, we have to fight against them, and we have to make jihad, and we have to defend our country. But those guys who used to import the victory, and they built their victory on the shoulders of others. And look at the history. For the last something like 400 years, they didn't even defend themselves. They always asking support from others. And once there is no way to find support from the others, he said, we have to contact them. Unfortunately for him, Fernandez sent him a letter asking him to surrender. Give us the country. Give us Granada. And what will happen? We will maintain everything. And I will assign you as a minister, one of the ministers of mine. And I will keep all your masjids. And I will keep everything for the Muslims. And we will take care of the Muslims and everything. They put 70 conditions we're gonna maintain for you. Just give us, surrender and give us the country. When they got married, he and his wife Isabella, when they got married, they swear that we are not going to make a wedding party except we make it at the palace of Al-Ahmar. The palace of Al-Ahmar is in these days is one of the most famous palaces. It was a wonderful palace in the world. They spent a lot of money to build it. while their country were surrounded by enemies. Anyway, so they asked them, and he started to think, and he find no way to give it to them. And he sent them an acceptance, but he put two conditions. And look at, subhanAllah, what kind of humiliations those guys, and neither Allah nor people nor the history will forgive those guys. Look at his conditions. You have to swear that you're going to maintain this treaty. This is the first. You didn't get lessons from the history. The second, we have to find someone to be a witness for this treaty. And look at what, to whom they were looking for. They were asking the witnesses of the Pope in Italy. You have to be witness in this, and you have to sign the treaty. And this was happening. Oh, it's my pleasure. Come on, I'll sign it up to you. And this happened, and he gave them the keys of Granada. The keys which announced the fall of the Islamic country in these days. And they came and they entered the palace, and they brought a very, very big cross, and they put it in one of the towers, announcing that this is the last day for the Islamic country here. And the first condition they broke, they expelled Ibn al-Ahmar out of the country. And while he's getting out, he stopped by one of the hills. He can see his palace and start to cry. You are crying about what? His mom started to talk to him. She said, ابكي كالنساء على ملك لم تحافظ عليه كالرجال. You have to cry like women about a big kingdom you couldn't maintain like men. And this hill, nowadays it's a tourist now that people can visit it. And what they did after that, they break all points in the treaty they made, and they start to, after about 9 years from this, they start to announce it, or they give something like, they announced that this country from now on is only for Christians. From now on, and they said, the God sent us to liberate this country from al-Kafirin, which is Muslims. And they expelled all Muslims out of the country. And those who prefer to stay, they found a lot of troubles. And some Muslims, unfortunately, converted to Christianity. And even those, they were treating them in a very bad way. They said, you are something like a second-degree Christians. And this was the last page of 800 years of the history of Muslims and the benefits Muslims and the civilizations Muslims brought to the whole world in this. And look at this. And while I'm reading this part, I start to think about the big guys in the Islamic history. Where is Musa ibn Nusayr? Where is Tariq ibn Ziyad? Where is Abd al-Rahman al-Dakhil and Abd al-Rahman al-Nasir and Yusuf ibn Tashfin? Where are those guys to find by the end, those kind of humiliated guys who couldn't maintain even the country? This was the history of Andalus. I ask Allah for us to get the benefits and to get lessons from our history. And I ask you to forgive me if I did any mistakes. Whatever mistakes I made, it's from myself, and whatever good I did, it's from Allah. جزاكم الله خيرا. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.